Hello, this is Julian Lage, and I'm at Amoeba, and this is What's in My Bag. I've had an incredible time exploring the store and I guess experiencing music and record buying like I did as a kid. You know, so much of my education as a jazz musician came from spending hours with albums and finding new things. I feel brought back to that. So I'm grateful to everyone here for that. The first thing I wanted to talk about is by my ultimate mentor and hero, Jim Hall. Jim Hall is kind of the architect of the modern jazz guitar language, both as a composer, as an improviser, as an accompanist, just pure soul and heart and innovation in a way that has humor and drama and lightness and darkness. It's just multifaceted. This record is deep because it's his first album as a leader. It has Carl Perkins on piano, Red Mitchell on bass. I love the way it's recorded. It's also kind of a blueprint for the touch and sound of what I think a jazz guitar can be. You know when you hear an early album of a real master and you can hear all the trappings of what's going to happen, you know, you can see the future through it. That's how this record is. You hear his DNA on everything, but it's a little more, well, it's just newer, it's fresher. Kind of go, wow, this guy is about to just revolutionize everything. There's a song on here that he covers specifically Deep in a Dream, beautiful old ballad. I remember the day Jim passed away and I'd just been with him maybe a week or so before and, you know, I was devastated and I put on that song on repeat. It was just very emotional because you just hear that he's eternal. And that's the power of records and the power of Jim is that he's left his mark forever. And this embodies that really beautifully. So that's my first pick. Next up, Aretha, live at Filmore West. Aretha Franklin is one of my all-time heroes. I mean, I think that's true of every living human being. What she embodies is kind of everything I would ever dream of, being close to music, whether it's me playing it or just being near it or just putting on her albums and being kind of showered with it. It's humanity.
Reach out and touch wherever you are, your brother's head. Go on and make it a better world. I'll tell you if you can.
This record is also a great example of that because in a live setting, it's so unleashed. The way the band is playing, oh my God, it's almost like a runaway train. It's just everything's plowing, everything's faster than the original record. Obviously got the audience kind of whipped into a state. And her poise is just undeniable. She's just in the center of the whole storm, guiding us to a good place. So this is a top pick for me. Okay, Emahoy, I'm not going to pronounce it right, but I believe it's Emahoy Tsegué-Mariam Guèbru, was a nun from Ethiopia, as I understand, and a brilliant composer and piano player. And there's many recordings of her. I don't remember when I discovered her, but there is a poignancy to her solo piano works that is unparalleled. These compositions, the first one has been a big influence on me. It's called The Homeless Wanderer. I wouldn't say it's of a genre per se, like all the great music, it transcends. But the message and the intimacy it's basically everything I wish I could do and strive for. It's done without any agenda. It's the presentation of music in its purest form. The track 3, A Young Girl's Complaint, is amazing. everything is just, you just know it's the real deal. It's the reason we're doing all of this. There have been many tours where we've had this as the walking in music, just to kind of have an offering for the audience, you know? For me, that's often been the highlight of the whole day, is just sitting in a big theater, hearing her come through the speakers. It's like going to church or something. So Emahoy is very important, and I'm so happy you had this, on vinyl no less. Let's talk about John Coltrane. It's an impossible task to pick a single Coltrane record, but I wanted to talk about John Coltrane Quartet Ballads because, frankly, I grew up around this record, but I didn't pay attention the way I think I should have. And in the last few years, I really paid attention. What is a ballad? What does it mean? It can mean a lot of things to different people. There's schools of ballads that say, you know, that it's a certain type of song. It's like a love song is a ballad. And there's a type of thought this is a ballad is a slow song. You know, just pragmatically, it's the song in the set that's a little bit slower. With a whole record of ballads, you hear the nuances of what this type of song can be. The first track, it's called Say It Over and Over Again. Coltrane makes his complete statement, in my opinion, through the melody. He doesn't take a solo on it. But like any great singer, you hear him just play the melody and you want to applaud, you want to cry. You feel it's all there. You don't need him to expand upon that. It's all in the phrasing. It's all in the tone. And then what's so hip on that track is then McCoy Tyner plays the one and only solo. And the language of the solo is very different than the heartbeat of the song. It's faster, it's languid, it's kind of explosive in a way. But the dichotomy of that explosiveness with the kind of, I guess, more stoic nature of Coltrane's tone, it wrecks me every time. So this is a big masterclass in what it's like to render song, render an emotion, be a band leader, be an improviser, and make a beautiful record that if you knew none of that, you would still love it. So that's John Coltrane's Ballads. Martha Argerich is, to me, the tops as far as classical piano playing. This is with Gideon Kremer and Misha Maisky, yes. So Martha Argerich is very important to me, and she needs to be talked about in the jazz world because she's a big influence to all of us. Martha Argerich, I first found her music as a teenager. My friend Taylor Eigene showed me. It was kind of in the early days of YouTube, you know, and so he said, listen to her and also watch her. And if you ever watch Martha play, it's unlike any other player. Tremendous power and clarity, but nothing's ever pushed onto you. It's kind of like you're witnessing a flower opening up and a volcano erupting at the same time. It's deeply captivating. So I've spent my life from teenage years on being just obsessed with her. Her touch, her acuity, her agility, frankly, her use of virtuosity as a means of storytelling, not as a means of showing what you can do. It's dazzling, but that's not the point. It's virtuosic, but that's not where your attention goes. But when it's all over, you go, what did I just experience? About 3 or so years ago, I got a call to basically open for her, which is not something that happens in the classical world much. But she had a festival in Hamburg in Germany, and she had seen me play with John Zorn at this festival, and I guess they just wanted to do something different. They said, we'll have a jazz guitar player open up this whole week-long festival. And I nearly died. I couldn't believe it. Probably the most nervous I've ever been. She played, it was devastatingly great, and then we played a piece together with Misha Maisky, actually, it was cello, piano, and guitar. And I blacked out. I don't remember anything. But when it was all over, I thought, I think that was the coolest thing I've ever done.
I hope there was video footage of that.
I don't think there was.
Oh,
I think it came and went. Such is life. I was there. I loved it. Next up, this delighted me. John Lee Hooker, maybe one of the first concerts I ever went to as a little boy. I was probably 5 years old, 6 years old. I just started playing guitar. I grew up in Santa Rosa, California, and he was playing at the Luther Burbank Center, which was 3 minutes from our house. I saw the show, and it would have been around the time of this record, The Healer.
I ain't gonna be, babe, your fool no more.
By the grace of something greater than us, there was a gentleman who was there and said, hey, do you want to go meet him? Are you a guitar player? And this is a different era. I have to think this is, however many years ago. I said, yeah, I guess he just saw this kid looking like, you shouldn't be here. So if you're here, there's probably a good reason. Are you a player? I said, yeah, I play. So, well, just hang out for a second. And he brought me back. I had a guitar with me. That's probably why he noticed me. I don't know why I had a guitar with me. He said, bring your guitar and I bet you we can get it signed. And sure enough, he got me backstage again. I don't know how. Brought the guitar. John Lee Hooker drew his name in all capital letters on the back. And I don't think I realized what was happening. I didn't realize that I was in the presence of something so otherworldly.
Lonely man, lonely man, lonely man, lonely man.
After that night especially, I just went deep into his music and just felt so lucky to have been in his presence.
I didn't know.
And this particular recording it's with a lot of collaborators. So it's with Santana and Bonnie Raitt. It's recorded in the Bay Area too. And I don't know, I just love this record.
I'm in the mood, baby. Oh, Lord, I'm in the mood of love.
What a special experience, especially for a 5-year-old.
It was unreal. I look back, these things don't make sense sometimes ever in a lifetime, but it was really impactful. John Lee Hooker's the greatest of all time.
Do you remember how you started playing guitar?
I started playing guitar because my father started playing guitar basically at the same time as me. I would have been about 5, and I guess he was in his mid to late 30s, I guess. I'm the youngest of 5 children, and quite frankly, I think I just saw him doing something and I wanted to be close to him in that way. And whatever he did, I would have wanted to do that, Happened to be the guitar. He would take guitar lessons and then teach me what he learned. And then I would go to his lessons with him, and then they ended up being my lessons, and he would come with me to the lessons. And so we kind of grew up through the music in that way together. And my family, my mother, my siblings, everyone was so supportive, and I had this kind of protective bubble around me that allowed me to be a kid learning music. And also, I think a significant part of it was before the modern day conception of what it means to be popular on, there's no YouTube, there's no social media, none of that. So I had a pretty hermetic existence up until I was in my 20s. Just cultivating, learning, falling in love over and over again with this music. So I was lucky. I picked this out. Christopher Guest, one of my heroes.
L-O-L-R-U.
So at the same time I was probably getting deeper into music, I was also getting deeper into his work. Over the years, we've become close friends, which is a beautiful thing that's happened. But I would be lying if I didn't say there's always a tinge of just being in awe, because in a movie like this, Waiting for Guffman, not only is just a comedic masterpiece and a poignant story and a brilliantly made film, this is about improvisation the same way Jim Hall's about improvisation.
The conceptualization, the whole abstraction, the obtuseness.
It's a presence of mind. It's about interaction between these masters and the humanity that just kind of is unleashed when you have people who are really present and really without any arrogance or anything else or pretense. So he's a teacher of mine in that respect.
People ask me, you must have been the class clown, and I say, no, I wasn't, but I sat beside the class clown, and I studied him.
I've been lucky to talk to him about that a lot, what the nature of improvisation is to him. And he also grew up in New York, and he grew up being at the Village Vanguard and in the jazz world. So there's, our relationship is a reminder that the world's very small.
It's like a Hitchcock movie where, you're thrown into a rubber bag and put in the trunk of a car. You find people. Is it karma? Maybe.
But God, Little Boy Me was I obsess over this movie, all of his films. And to this day, I still do. So that's why I picked Waiting for Guffman.
Who knew that he was going to act and sing and dance? You know, he can just do everything there is to do. There's only one other person in the world that can do that, and that's Barbra Streisand.
Finally, I don't actually have this record, but I picked out this Barbra Streisand record because, well, my wife and I are huge fans of her, especially for jazz singing. Here on this record, she's singing all the standards, Funny Valentine, Nearness of You.
It's just the nearness of you.
Her record Live at the Bonsoir, which I think might have been her earliest recording that was never released, at the Bonsoir Club in Greenwich Village, just came out within the last few years. Her singing at that point, to me, especially because she's singing standards, is at the highest level of interpretation, basically, of this music that I grew up with, in the sense that she sings the way Lester Young plays. She phrases in these ways that are an inspiration to any improvising musician because she's doing the magic trick. She's rendering the song, but she's also transcending it, and she's also doing things that are deeply creative and hip. So hip, where she places the beat, how she interfaces with the band.
Down with love. Take it away, away. Take it away.
She's not simply on top of it, but she sounds like she's kind of growing out of the orchestra, out of the ensemble. So what that does in turn is it lifts the bandstand. It's like Frank Sinatra with Count Basie Orchestra, or Live at the Sands. It's highest level.
Cry me a river, cry me a river. I cried a river over you.
She's also, she's got this thing that my wife, Margaret, and I, we talk about all the time, where in a moment it can be a whisper, and then the next moment she can have the horsepower turned up.
Who told you you're allowed to rain on my parade? Gonna live and live now. Get what I want, I know how.
It's like she can take corners like a race car driver, kind of like nobody else. She's the master.
Had to be.
So this is my collection today.
Thank you so much, Julian.
Of course, thanks for letting me have fun with all this stuff.
Oh my gosh, you have a very beautiful way of describing music, and
Really?
I could listen to it all day.
That's really sweet. Well, thank you. Thanks for giving me the forum.
Oh,
It's
it's
really
our
nice.
pleasure.
Amoeba